Hello and welcome to the chapter on string manipulation. This is the first part of this particular chapter, and in this part we are going to deal with a basic introduction to strings. So let's get started. So first thing is we are going to discuss what is the meaning of strings. So string may be defined as a group of characters enclosed within quotes. So if we have a group of characters, within the group there may be any character, there may be like a floating point number, there may be an integer, there may be some alphabets. So if we have a group of characters that is enclosed within quotes, the quotes may be single, double or triple quotes, then we say them to be strings. Alright. For example, if I use the name Raj, if it is enclosed within double quotes, it will be termed as a string. If Raj is enclosed within single quotes, then also it will be termed as a string. Also, if it is enclosed within triple quotes, then also it will be termed as a string itself. Also, any Python object enclosed within quotes are considered as strings even if they consist of numbers. So it's not like that inside the quotes we need to have only alphabets. Inside the quotes you can have numbers also, or a mixture of numbers or other alphabet characters also. For example, if I write 281, normally it is an integer, but if I write 281 within quotes, then it will be termed as a string. Next, in string we have a concept called indexing. Now what is the meaning of indexing in string? Each character in a string consists of a number. That number is known as its index. For example, if I consider a string India, then now see the length of the string. Length of the string means how many characters are there in the string India. If I count INDIA, there are 5 characters in the string India. So the length of the string is 5, and each character of this particular string or any string will consist of a number. That number is known as index. There are two types of indexing system. One is forward indexing, other is backward indexing. Let's see what these indexes are. So if the indexing of strings begins from 0 to length minus 1 from the left, it is called forward indexing. As you can see here in the diagram, if the string index begins from 0, means if the first character has the index 0, second character has the index 1, third character has the index 2, fourth character has the index 3, fifth character has the index 4, then it is known as what? Then it is known as forward indexing. Alright. Next, if the indexing of strings begins from minus 1 to minus length from the right, it is known as backward indexing. As you can see in the figure, if the indexing begins from the right and the indexing starts at minus 1 and goes up to minus length, then it is known as backward indexing. Now what is the length of the string India? The length of the string that you can see in your screen is 5. Therefore the indexing, if I am talking about backward indexing, it will begin from minus 1 to minus 5 starting from the right. Now let's see how do we access the items of a string. Before that, let us see the things a little bit more practically. So for that, let me open ideally. There, let me go to the Python shell. So here this is Python shell. So if I have to declare a string, I can take any variable. Let's say x equals to India. So this is a string. Also, if I enclose it within single quotes, then also it is fine. It will work fine. Okay, then it will work fine. If instead of single quote or double quote, if I use triple quotes, then also it will work just as fine. Here I used capital X by mistake, therefore I was getting an error here. So what is string? It is a group of characters enclosed within quotes which may be single, double or triple quotes. Just now we learnt about indexing of strings. Now if I want to see the value or the character at a particular index, then it is known as accessing a string. Let us see how to access the individual elements of a string. So the individual elements of a string can be accessed by using its index. What is the syntax for accessing the elements of a string? It can be accessed via the following syntax. We need to specify the name of the string followed by the index within the third bracket. For example, if the string is India, if I have to access the element at the index 0, which is I need to write x and within bracket I need to specify 0. Then what will be returned? The element that is in the index 0 will be returned and it will be shown in the output. If I write x2, what is the element in the index 2? It is D, so D is returned. It's not that you have to use only the forward index. If you want, you can use the backward index also. So if I write x minus 1, as you already know, the negative index begins from the right hand side. X minus 1 means which character is present at the index minus 1, it will be returned and shown in front of you. So what is the character present at the index minus 1? It is A, so A is returned in front of you. If I write x minus 3, the character at the index minus 3 will be returned in front of you, which is D in this case. Let me show it to you practically. So if I open the interactive mode, now here what is the string? The string is India. So if I type x0, the character at the index 0 is shown. If I type x3, the character at the index 3 means I 0, 1, 2, 3, it is shown. If I type x4, the character at the index 4, that is A, will be shown. Now if I try to give such an index which is not present, now here what is the maximum forward index here? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So if I try to give here, let's say 6, there is no character at the index 6. So if I give x6, it will give me an error. If you can just read the error, it says that string index out of range. So as you are accessing a string, you must keep in mind that you need to pass on valid string indices only. If you try to give such a string index which is not present there, then it will result in an error. I can even use the backward index. If I write x minus 2, it will return me I. So if I give x4, x3 or x minus 2, it means the same thing. Negative index means I am talking about the backward index. Positive index means I am following the forward index. Next, let us see the concept of traversing a string. Now, what is the meaning of the word traversing? Traversing means if we have a string and we visit each character of the string one after another, it is known as traversing. So, traversing refers to iterating through the elements of a string one character at a time. So, let us consider the previous string which we have been considering till now, that is India, and these are the indexes. I am talking about the forward index of the string. Now if I visit the first character, that is I, then I visit the second character followed by the third character followed by the fourth character and finally the fifth character. Now here what I am doing, I am visiting each and every element of the string one character at a time. So if I visit each and every element of a string one character at a time, then it is known as the concept of traversing a string. Now we will see how to traverse a string using Python. Alright, so let us go and do the programming part of it. Also one more thing, if I want to receive a string from the user, I need to use a function known as input function. That also I will be showing it to you now. So what I am going to do here, I am going to perform traversing a string. Alright, so here let us take a variable x and I'm going to receive the string from the user. So for receiving a string from the user, we use a function known as the input function. This I have already told you in the chapter on Python fundamentals. So here I'll give a display message here like enter a string to traverse. So whatever string will be entered by the user, it will be stored in the variable x. So now x will have the string that will be entered by the user. So for display, let us give a print function here, and I can simply give here string after traversing, and here I can use the concept of loop. For traversing the elements of a string, you need to use the concept of loop. Here I am using the for loop for I in x, print I. So how this loop is working, that I'll explain it to you separately. First let me show you the output. So if I run it, it is asking me to enter a string to traverse. I'll enter, let's say, any string, let's say India. Then the string India is displayed one character at a time. At first I is displayed, then N, then D, then I, and then A. I can see it with any other string. If I see it with the string, let's say cat, cat, now each character of the string cat is displayed one after another. Now let's try to understand how this program works line by line. So what is the first line? The first line says you to enter a string to traverse. So if I assume this to be my output screen, let's say this is my output screen. What will be displayed as the first line of the output screen? It will be displayed as follows: enter a string to traverse. Let's say you enter the string as India. This string will be stored in the variable x, and as we know, each character of a string is assigned an index. Let's say I'll give the index here, which is 0, 1, 2, 3 and 4. For simplicity, we are talking only about the forward index here. So I hope that the first line is clear. Then let's go to the second line, which says the string after traversing. Here I have simply used the print function, so simply it will be printed in the output screen, that is string after traversing. Here what we have, this part is known as the loop. If you are not very clear with the concept of loop, you can watch my videos on the chapter on flow of control. So here what I have, for I in x, that means for I in x. Now what is stored at x? The string, sorry, I'll have to write it in all caps. The string India is stored at the variable x. Now how does a loop work? The variable I, at first it will take the value capital I and it will come inside the loop. Inside the loop means this line. Now what is the line, what is the first line inside the loop? It says print I. Now what is stored at I? I, capital I is stored in the variable I. So what will be displayed in the output screen? Capital I will be displayed in the output screen. After that, it will process the next element of the loop. Loop is such a thing which after it runs one, it will run again and check the next element, which is n in this case. It will take n and it will come inside the loop, and then what is written there? Print I. So what is stored at the character I now? N is stored, so n will be displayed in the output screen. Then in the next iteration, I will take the value as D, and there what is there inside the loop? Print I. So the value of I is D. Similarly, in the next iteration again we have I, so I will be printed, and then in the next iteration we'll have A, so again A will be printed here. So finally, this is the output that you can see in the output screen. So here what we are doing, we are accessing each element of the string one after another. It is a very simple concept, but it is used in processing various sequences in strings, which we will be seeing in the upcoming classes. I hope the concept of traversing is clear to you. So let me just show you the code once more for revision. So here this is the code where I accepted a string from the user and traversed it, and this is the output. You can give any string for that matter. Now let us see how to traverse a string in reverse order. Now what is the meaning of traversing in reverse order? Reverse order means if I give the string India, and if I want that at first the last element is processed, that is A, then the second last, that is I, then the third last, that is D, then followed by N, and finally A. This is known as traversing in reverse order. Now let's try to see a program to check how to traverse a string in reverse order. At first I'll do the program and then I'll be explaining you line by line. Alright, so at first it is the same. Now let me give the name of the program as a comment. I hope you understand about comments. Traversal in reverse. Alright, so at first I'll accept the string from the user. For accepting, I'll be using the input function. So I'll give here enter a string to traverse alright, the string will be stored in. Then we'll find out the length of the string. So for finding out the length of a Python object, we use a function called len function. Now the string is stored in the variable x, so I'll be giving len of x. So length of the string x will be found out and it will be stored in the variable y. After that, what I'm gonna do is I'll be printing the string after traversal, string after traversal. Okay, now my intention is to traverse in reverse order, so I'll be giving the loop something like this for I in range. Now if I want to traverse in the reverse order, I need to take help of the backward indexing. Now backward index begins at which number? It begins at the number -1. So I'll be giving -1 and then I need to move backwards. So for moving backwards, I'll give minus length -1. Now by default, I have already discussed this concept in loop. Loop moves always in the forward direction, but if I want it to move in the backward direction, I need to give a step value of -1 here. So I'll be giving a step value of -1 and then I'll be printing the indexes which is stored in I one after another. Don't worry, I'll be traversing the loop line by line just as I did in the previous question. So here let me run this program. So what it is showing, it is asking me to enter a string to reverse. Let me enter the string as India itself, and it is, as you can see, it is displaying the string India itself but in the backward direction. Here also we are accessing each item of the string but in the reverse order. Now let us try to understand each line of this code one after another. Okay, so let's assume that this is your output screen. I hope first line is clear. Enter a string to traverse. I'll be writing in short. Enter a string to reverse. Let's say you entered the string as India. India will be stored in the variable x, and there we'll have the indexes 0, 1, 2, 3 and 4. Since I'll be traversing in the backward direction, let me show the negative indexes also, that is -1, minus 2, minus 3, minus 4 and also minus 5. Then in the second line, what is done? Y equals to len x. Now what is the length of x? Length means the number of characters of x. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the result is 5. So in the variable y, what is stored? 5 is stored. So what will be printed in the next line? String after traversing. So if, as this is the output screen, I am writing the output here. String after traversing. Then let's go to the next line. In the next line we have, for I in range minus 1 comma minus y minus 1 comma minus 1, and here we have print x I. Now here, what is the value of y? The value of y we have already got as let me change the color of the pen. Now the value of y we have already got as 5. So here what we'll have? Minus 5 minus 1, that means minus 6, and here we'll have minus 1. So the range now is minus 1 comma minus 6 comma minus 1. This minus 1 will help in moving in the backward direction. So what will be the possible values in this range? The possible values in this range will be minus 1, minus 2, minus 3, minus 4 and minus 5. As we already know that range function takes value in the range of lower limit to upper limit minus 1. What is the lower limit here? Lower limit is minus 1. What is the upper limit here? It is minus 6. Alright. So, at first what will be the value of I? The value of I will be minus 1. So, it will take minus 1 and it will come inside the loop. What is the line inside the loop? Inside the loop we have x I. So, x I means, what is the value of I? It is minus 1. So, what is stored at the index minus 1? A is stored at the index minus 1. So, that will be printed in the output screen. After that, the loop will again iterate. This time, the value of I will be taken as minus 2 and then again it will come inside the loop. What we have? Print xi, that means x minus 2. Minus 2 means what is stored there? I is stored in the index minus 2. So, I will be displayed in the output screen. Again similarly the same pattern will continue. Next time the value of I will be how much? It will be minus 3. So, what is there inside the print function? xi, the value of I is minus 3. What is located at the index minus 3? D is located at the index minus 3, and the same pattern will continue. Next time value of I will be minus 4. What is located at minus 4? And next time value of I will be minus 5. What is stored at minus 5? I. So, I will be displayed in the output screen. Now, all the values of I are being used up. So, it will be displaying the output as shown here by a circle. So, this is how we traverse a string in the reverse direction. For revision, let me show you the code once again. This is the code for traversal in reverse order and this is the output. While receiving the string, you can give any input as per your choice. You can even give numbers also. Alright. So, that's all for this session. I hope that the session was useful. Thank you very much. I'll see you again.